another episode of So You Think You Got Problems. My name is Ron Bush. I'm off of Corn Spring Road, driving a truckload of PPE, personal protective equipment, to Abilene, Texas. So if you never see me again, they done killed a nigga.
Yes. And I'm Jeff Keller, comedian writer, wearing my Colin Kaepernick jersey because I'm tired of the bullshit that has been going on in America to minorities and especially black people.
Thank you.
I am Mike Muratori, the vampire elf, and I'm here to help Melissa J. and contribute to the cause of black people getting fucked with. Enough already.
Thank you. And Melissa J, will you so graciously introduce yourself today, ladies and gentlemen? Our great guest, Melissa J. Let's go.
My name is Melissa J, and I definitely have some problems, so it sounds like I'm in the right place. That's for sure. I am throwing myself on the altar of this podcast as a sacrifice.
Oh, it will be a sacrifice.
Yeah, just so you know, you do not have more problems than any one of us. So welcome to the podcast. Actually, my problems are issues, and like this shirt that I'm wearing, but we won't talk about that.
This is human blood.
Mike, why don't you kick it off this time?
This is human blood. Just so you know, this is human blood, Ron, right here.
Oh, perfect.
Right, that's beautiful.
So, Mike, why don't you kick it off? Why don't you introduce the why you decided to have Melissa J on our show?
All right. This is our friend Melissa J, wonderful comedian. And what I found fascinating about her story was how people view her as she goes through life in Hollywood and Los Angeles. Now, Melissa, explain to us your problem and what you want us to help you with.
And Melissa, before you start, it has nothing to do with Mike's haircut. Thank you.
My haircut gets me young girls, you fucking homo. Back to Melissa J.
Where to begin? Well, actually, let me
start
just
with
wing it here. Let me tell you about what just happened to me. Let's start with the most recent problem. So
hold on, Melissa. Hold on one second. Hold on. Why don't you start with your look and why you dress like you do, so people can get a backstory about you before we get into the issues.
Gotcha. I have a very unique situation. I'm a transgender. I'm a cross-dresser. It's strictly a fashion and a social thing. I'm not on any hormones or getting any surgeries or anything like that. And it's not that much of a sexual thing. Maybe that's the first problem. Maybe Ron can help me about this. I want to be gay so bad, and I'm not. And I'm wondering how can I make that happen?
That's the comedian in me can answer that in numerous ways. Let me start here. First of all, what I say a lot, and what I had to learn for myself in therapy, is that when it comes to sexuality and sexual orientation, they're two different things, right? But what it comes down to is, who can you fall in love with? It's that simple. And if you're not able to fall in love with this person or that person, then that's just the way it is. And I wouldn't try and force yourself to fall under any category because it sounds like you're in the process of figuring that out, But that being said, how you feel freedom of expression is a beautiful thing. And, and that's what I think is so important about, having you on as a guest. And I don't think, to finally answer your question, there is no, for me at least, there is no, that is a journey of you. That's you opening your soul to wherever your soul draws you. And that's where you'll find yourself. That's I don't think anybody can help you along with that journey than to tell you to love yourself more and more every day, like we all struggle to do.
Yeah. At what age, Melissa, did you discover that you like to cross dress?
I knew initially when I was a very small kid, probably even pre-kindergarten. I went to see, it was like the Rockettes, and they were all kicking with the stockings. And I just knew I had the biggest urge. I wanted to run into my mom's room and try on all her clothes. And I'd heard Caitlyn Jenner said the same thing, that when she was young, that was like one of her first urges. And I knew then, but then society, testosterone, being a male, I went into denial and I suppressed it. And then it wasn't until I was in my early 30s, I was married at the time, and my wife was out of town, and I was bored. We were living in the middle of nowhere, and I remember there was just one of her fishnet stockings was hanging on the towel rack. Just, you know, she'd put it there, and it was just like a scene from a movie. I just looked at it, I raised an eyebrow, and I tried it on, and the rest is history.
Wow.
And that's one thing I've noticed about being transgender. It's like being a comic. It chooses you, and it's not necessarily the easiest path to wander down. And you pay a lot of dues, but who you are is who you are.
And what did your wife think at that time?
She was into it. She was very. I didn't tell her for about 4 years.
Wow.
And it was a very rare thing. She would go out of town. I went. I had a weird thing. It was something about the energy of putting on her lingerie. I couldn't do it. I felt like it was, even though I was married to her, we've been living together for years, it almost, it's just such a personal issue when you get down to it on that level. And I just knew that even though we were married, it was invasive, what I was doing. And I had this instinctive need to just respect her space, her privacy, and her fishnets. And I went and got my own stuff. And it was interesting. It was like scoring drugs. You know, I drove like 45 minutes to a Walmart where no one would recognize me. The whole time, you know, I put in like a big comforter and all this other stuff in the shopping cart, and then stuffed the bra and panties underneath it. And then I had to return all this crap that I didn't need that I bought, so it would, you know, just look like normal. And then I just knew she was out of town for like 4 days, and I stayed in that lingerie the entire 4 days. And then I kind of just, it was when she would go out of town, I would do it. And then a few days before we got married, there just some things happened. There was some conflict with the wedding prep. And we just got through these problems so well together. I just told her a few days before the wedding, and she was all about it. And she was a clothing designer, seamstress, and I definitely, a big part of my fashion influence came from her. Living in wine country at the time, and that's kind of where I get this. I like to think of myself as a high-class alley cat. And
now, I have a question for you, because I've known you for a while. Do you ever go out in public not wearing women's clothes?
Yes.
And if so,
yes.
why?
Safety,
okay.
Especially like when I do. So to the people watching, you know, I'm a stand-up comic, and I have to do Postmates and Grubhub dressed like this, and it just got too dangerous. I ended up at a party. It was like a house party in South Central, and I had this order of food, and I had to walk.
Wait. You're a white person cross-dressing in South Central.
She's the bravest human being on earth.
Yes. And
yeah, you can have that one.
It was one thing I gotta say. One thing about bad neighborhoods, as long as you're not messing with anybody's revenue stream, they don't. You know what I mean? It's like they don't want the heat from. You know, if a white person gets shot, the cops are gonna be there. But if I were, say, some black kid in my early 20s and they saw me as another potential drug dealer, probably would have been a lot worse if I would have been black versus if I would have been white.
I don't know. I can always shoot you and hide the body. Now, come on.
That's why I'm always nice to you, Jeff. I always make sure to stay on Jeff's good side. What's that?
Yeah. I said that was a very gratuitous explanation of what might have happened in other situations in South Central, you know. But that also takes a lot of courage. I mean, when I dress Mike up in a dress and take him out to Santa Monica Boulevard to make a few extra dollars, he's very self-conscious. He needs to have the big fluffy umbrella so he can turn his back. So people that he lives in shame with it. And you
Hey, Ron. Ron.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to find a better connection because I don't know if the producer can save that because you're real staticky.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah, if before you talk shit to me, at least so we can at least hear you. Okay? Because if I'm gonna wear overalls, Rod, trust me, I'm not giving you any ass. You're disgusting. Okay? You look like buckwheat on crack. You know this, right?
I think Ron at the truck stop is the real story here. He's intrigued with me. I'm intrigued with him right now.
Ron right now is Christopher Columbus. That's his new name.
Oh, it's not Ron's first truck stop. It's not Ron's first truck stop. Listen to that.
He's been on this many times.
So what happened in South Central, Melissa? What happened when you showed up?
So I get there and there's this party going on and I have a name for the order and the person's not there and it was for Denise. And I'm just like having to ask people at random, hi, do you know Denise? Do you know where Denise is? And there was this group of guys standing off to the side. And one of them goes to me, he just looks at me, he goes, you sure you're not Denise? And they just start laughing. And it was like, I've been around comedy my whole life. Those guys were funnier than like any comics I've ever seen. You know, just the shit talking at that party. And eventually, so Denise was like 3 houses down. I had to call the phone number. She answers, and then eventually she's not even like at the party, and I had to stand there. That was when I realized I probably shouldn't be out dressed like a female, driving around to random places in Los Angeles. And that was the night I almost lost my life. Yes.
But black people loved you. You said black people loved you though.
No, they loved making fun of me. And so it was like to harm me would have killed the joke. You know, like, so if somebody came and just gave me a beat down, then the set's over for those guys. It was like their little roast. You know, they were just standing around, the 3 of them. I felt like I was like Comedy Central, you know, like Charlie Sheen or, you know, whoever they roast. And I just had to stand there and
okay. Let me help you on this one. Melissa, let me help you on this one. They was playing the dozens and they was waiting for you to play back. And since you didn't play back,
of course I didn't play back.
Tortured you.
I value my life.
No, I'm telling you right now, they would have had more respect for you if you'd have said something back. Think about this. A white dude dressed as a woman clowns another dude. Let me tell you something. They would have fell out. I'm telling you. They would have fell. Let me tell you about black clubs with black audience. They give a white comedian more of a chance than they do a black comedian.
Interesting.
And if you deal with them, you got to go guns a-blazing, or they're gonna tear you to shreds.
Oh yeah, you would have had a good time. They would have had fun with you. You would have said crack them, and they would have been like this. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. And then bam, they would have said something else. You could have had fun with them.
Part of the reason I couldn't compete with those guys, they would have smoked me. And I was like, why are they not at the open mic? How many bad sets of comedy have we had to sit through from so many boring vanilla ice cream? Yeah, I went to college in Maryland and my friend said I'm pretty funny. So, you know, it's like, why are those guys not on stage? Yo, the funniest people are in real life.
Because that's how you fight to survive in your family. In minority families, that's what you do. You clown on each other.
Yeah.
And so that's how you train. Now, what did your family think when you came out and told them you were cross-dressing?
They were not happy. No. They were not happy. I do a stand-up bit about it. Do you remember that old school, the Just Say No to Drugs commercial? Where the parent catches the kid with weed and he goes, how could this happen? And the kid goes, you. I learned it from watching you. Well, so I'm telling my mom, and she was upset, and it was the most awkward thing in the world. And then at one point she just said, she goes, how could this happen? And I thought of that commercial, and I said, you, I learned it from watching you, and it was just the wrong time to be making a joke.
Wow.
Initially they were not happy, but I love my family. I gotta give them so much credit, and that's why I have faith, in society, in America, in the world. They came around once they.
Even your dad? Even your dad?
Yes, and
What did your dad say?
My dad didn't say much, because if he did, I'm sure you know how it goes with fathers. If he did, it definitely, back then, this was 6 years ago. In fact, 2 days ago was the 6-year anniversary for me.
So did you show up at your house in full drag, like in women's clothing?
Oh, no, that's funny. Now,
first of all, where do you live? Where do your parents live?
New Jersey.
So you were in New Jersey.
Yeah, so luckily I was a safe distance away at the time.
And I'm sure your dad's a hardworking, New Jersey man, manly man.
School teachers, yeah, both.
Yeah.
Both.
And so when you walked in there, you said that. What kind of look did your dad have on his face?
Oh, I didn't show up in person. I didn't show. In fact, I come from a football family. I played high school football. My brother played college. My dad used to help out. He was the trainer at his high school. He was best friends with all the coaches. A huge football family, which is actually, I think, where my first time trying on tights, basically. I remember putting on stockings, and it was like going back to senior year all over again. It's like, oh, this is why I liked high school football so much.
Now,
I have a great ass.
What position did you play?
Oh my gosh, you're gonna laugh.
Tight end?
No. I was on the offensive line. And
get out of here.
Lord, that poor quarterback is probably still limping around from all the people that I could not prevent from getting to him. We were like the bad news bear. Picture I'm the offensive line. Okay, you know how it is? You got a group of guys. The biggest guys protect the quarterback. I was all they had. I was like the biggest person. I was kicking and screaming. I don't want to play offensive line. Needless to say, we only won one game in the 3 years I was varsity. And
why, don't you? You know why? Because every time the guy beat you, you turned around and thought, you know what? He's got a nice ass.
I wish that was the case.
But see, this is the thing, Jeff, that you're not getting. Melissa's not attracted to dudes, right? You're not into dudes.
I
right?
wish. Yeah. Maybe I was looking at him going, why am I not attracted to that? What? I'll tell you something. You want to hear a funny story about all that? So the first time when I cross-dressed, no one was around. I was by myself for 4 days. This was 2005. There wasn't, this internet pool, these resources, it's out now. People have accounts of stories. There's a database. I was all alone, and I thought that because I cross-dressed that I was gay. And so the whole 4 days, I pictured me like grudgingly moving to San Francisco, marrying some older gay man, and like, yeah, all right, I guess I'm gay. And I guess, I wanted to have kids. I thought I liked women, but I guess I'm going to have to marry some, older gay man, and I'm going to have to learn, how to like give a blow job. And all right, I guess I'm gay. And I was so confused, and I was grudgingly, all right, I guess I'll go to a gay bar, and I guess I'll meet a guy, and then we're going to have sex. All right, I was like along for the ride at that point. And I even have like tried to force myself into it. I was really disappointed because I'm not gay, and I was like, how's this gonna work? How am I gonna sleep with this guy? I'm not attracted to him. I want to have kids, and that was like the weirdest thing for me was I had no idea. The misunderstood fact there's no correlation between gender and sexuality.
Well, Ron could always show you how to give a blowjob, just so you know. Ron can show you.
That's how. You have an idea how inferior as an LGBT person. You know, you look at that guy, he's like one of the baddest people I've ever met. He's down with it, and I can't like come around. I keep trying. I've gone to gay bars. You know, like I get nervous before I do stand-up. And so I was nervous going to the gay bar. Like, I don't really want to do this. And I feel the same way about comedy. Every time I go do stand-up, you know, the butterflies, I don't want to do this. But once I go through, like jumping off the high dive, you know, like once I go through, it's always a worthwhile experience. So I was going to be like a little kid, like holding their nose, eating the broccoli. Like, I'll just try it, you know, like
right.
life, like Mikey likes it. He likes it. And so, yeah, it just, I promise you guys, though, I keep trying and I will keep trying.
That's okay.
I will.
You know,
listen,
you don't have to keep trying. You want to date women?
I'll tell you, now that Ron's not around, like you can't tell him this, okay? But I used to host at Marty's. I'd be there for like 5 or 6 hours a night. It would be slow. There'd be times, you know, like I'd just be there for hours. No one would be around. There's a lot of buzz around Ron. You know, like people are into him. Guys dig him. And I was looking at him, trying to be like, maybe I could have a crush on Ron. And I'd be so bored, and I'd try and look at him and be like, he's still not looking good to me. Well, you know, and then I'd try it again. I'd try to look at him. I'd try to look at him and just be like picture like, hey, Ron, you know, like when the show ends, what are you doing? You want to go? Let's go smoke some weed. You know, then I'm picturing like we go back to my place and I'm on the couch with him and you know, like he's running game on me. And I'm like, I kept trying to have fantasies about Ron, like while I was sitting at Marty's, and it just couldn't happen. You know, maybe.
So did Ron ever hit on you? Did Ron ever hit on you? Oh.
No, I got to say I'm a little upset with him for that. I've asked him. I've asked him to hit on me before, you know, and he just shakes his head. He looks at me and just shakes his head like, yeah.
That's hilarious. Now, have you ever picked up a woman dressed like that?
Yes, many times.
Many times.
Give us an example of what happened.
Well, it gets weird. I get a lot of fetishes. Yeah, imagine that. Not okay. There's the normal, the statistical abnormality, and I don't even want to use abnormal. It's just unusual in the mathematical sense. Okay, so there's that. You know, it's just not something that you see every day. But then I just become a magnet, and I'm not like an overly sexual person. And I just become a magnet for anybody who's got a weird hang-up or a fetish. You know, I had a girl one time, she wanted me to start choking her. And it wasn't.
You should have called me. I'm the master of that. I am the Svengali of choking. You always call me.
When I need a wingman.
You text
me.
Women
love to be choked, just so you know. They love to be choked. I don't know.
They love to be choked.
I don't even know what it is.
So she wanted me to choke her. I had a hard time choking her. I eventually start choking her. And then she looks at me and she goes, "Mommy, I'm sorry." And she wanted me to role model. You know, she was like instigating. She wanted me to pretend that I am her mother and begin like choking her. And I was like, that's child abuse. You know, like if you're just some skank I bring home from a bar, choking's on the menu. Okay, but like if you're now you're a child. And here's the other thing, which was the biggest turnoff. I didn't want to be old enough to be her mother. You know what I mean?
You should have called me. I would have been her mother, and
you know what, though?
That
hey,
I would.
Melissa, I get it. I once dated a big celebrity's daughter, right? I'm not super doing a podcast. I can't mention the name.
Mm-hmm.
And we were getting ready to do the thing, and she started talking in a baby's voice.
You know,
it freaked me the fuck out. She was like,
I've heard of that.
I'm like, oh hell no.
You should have called me too. I love when they talk in a baby voice.
I had to end the relationship, man. It was crazy.
that gets into, I'll try and keep this as palatable as possible. A lot of times that person wishes to soil themselves in undergarments.
Yeah, see, I'm not into that.
And then be scolded. That, yeah, see, that's the thing. That's where it ends, like, for me. And that's another thing with me. I'm not that cool, like, sexually. You know,
so does she want you? Does she want you to be inside her and choke her, and then you know she can call you mommy? That's what she wanted.
She wanted me to almost like, she had like these like rape fantasies, and she was kind of communicating that to me.
Oh,
and I was
nothing
like,
wrong with that.
I was like,
women love that. They love rape fantasies.
For me to be the one to articulate that role, you're a casting director, Mike. I am not the person.
Don't give it to Mike.
Role.
Do not give it to Mike. Do not give it to Mike.
Listen, Melissa, if you would have texted me, I would have guided you through that fantasy. Like Dorothy Hamill on the ice skating. You always call me with freaky shit like that. I got you.
I want that, and I want a guided meditation from you, Mike. Everybody's doing that. That would be one of the funny, if you did it as a comedy piece.
I teach meditation, but you know what? It's not about that. It's about your rape fantasy.
You teach meditation?
Oh yeah, I teach all that shit.
You are full of surprises, and that's something from me.
No, Melissa, you are full of surprises. Now, have you ever picked up a girl?
True.
Have you ever picked up a girl when you're not dressed up as a woman?
Oh yeah, totally.
Now, and how does that go down?
Well, not in the last couple years. not because I haven't been. The only time when I'm out as a boy, it's to work for Postmates. But the thing is that women, it's one of the few fetishes that women have. I'll put it to you like this: the reason why Mick Jagger is so popular with the ladies is he has female mannerisms. He will dress.
He's a dandy.
Exactly, that's the term, the dandy.
And Prince too.
The reason why is that a woman's, her looks and her vanity were her survival for so many tens of thousands of years when we were evolving as, cavemen and cave women. When you embrace the elements of her vanity, it reinforces her and everything. Women, I've noticed that it's looking good is feeling good. It doesn't mean that you can't be intellectual. It doesn't mean that you have to act dumb or downplay your intelligence, but it's just, it's like having a nice sports car. You can turn yourself into a Porsche or a Ferrari instead of being like some beat up Chevrolet with 4 doors. And so it just, when you reinforce that, it's like meeting a chick who likes to watch football and drink a pitcher of beer, if you're like some normal guy. And so women, they love it's like, we're going to do you. Let's explore you. Let's go shopping, in your clothing department. Let's, do what you want to do. And you're kind of the ultimate man at that point.
Well, have you ever had like a normal sexual relationship with a girl dressed like that?
Dressed as a female?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. Definitely, yeah, for sure.
And how's that conversation go? I mean, is it like, I love the way you look, and, so she's okay with you two going out in public together like that? I mean, how does the relationship go?
The same way it would, the exact same way it would when I was dressed in boy clothes. It was a hell of a lot easier. And one thing about that, when you're on a date with a girl, normally when one of you has to go to the bathroom, you separate. And it's kind of, that's when people can move in and pounce on your date. It's so weird to be on a date. There's like, it's like this rhythm. You're talking, blah, 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 blah. You're talking, you're blah, blah, blah. You go into the bathroom, blah, blah, blah. You're talking. You sit down in stalls next to each other, blah, blah, blah. You're talking. And then you both hear each of your streams, like hitting the water. And you're still talking, blah, 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 blah. And you can hear her peeing and you're peeing. And it's like symphonic, like you pee together and you talk together and then you flush together, you wash your hands together. it really brings like a greater sense of harmony to
That's
the
too
date.
much work for me, man.
When
That's a lot of
your
peeing for
bowel
harmony.
movements like sync up like that. There's
That's a
something
lot of
about
peeing for harmony. That's all I'm saying. Hey, Ron, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm finally. I've been waiting on the line. My
Over
phone
there.
crashed.
Hey, were you on there when Melissa J said she had a crush on you? She wants to
No, I said I tried to have a crush on you.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't hear that part. I was on hold. What?
You know, I've told you, Ron. I've come to you for help on this. Like I want to sleep with guys so bad.
Melissa, you could do better than that old black crackhead. Don't do that. You can get better than Ron.
First of all, Melissa J, I'm flattered. I thank you very much for that. And you hear how Mike, he's jealous. He don't got these sexy chocolate lips. He don't got them, girl. He don't got them. You don't got this beautiful gay Negro skin. You don't got it. You know what I'm saying? So
I'll tell you, Ron does well. I've seen you come in with. It's like you're very popular. I've always noticed that when you come in, you can always kind of tell like who's digging them. And there's always somebody in the room. There's like people perk up when Ron comes in the room.
Yeah, they get depressed when I come in the room. Come this motherfucker.
I feel their life sucked out of them when I come in the room.
I appreciate that, but kind of like what I was saying earlier, Melissa J, is sexuality and sexual orientation are two different things, and one of the things about sexuality is being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
At least it is for me, and then because there's trust there,
Mm-hmm.
and so for you it's. You have to find, like everybody on this call, the Zoom, by the way, we call it Zoom. Everybody in the Zoom, we find our own way on how we're sexual. You know what I mean? And that that it takes work. If I were, there's a spiritual side to it, and I know Mike is going to vomit and turn into vapor right now with this. But there's a spiritual side to this, and even Mike, he's like a brother to me. Even he has a vulnerable side when it comes to getting the pussy. He knows everyone. It's the point of relate, and everyone has their people. That's why for me, with sexual orientation and sexuality, it's a very specific thing that everybody's into. I had a debate with a person that was asking me, challenging me why I am not attracted to certain people, and I said, it's scent. It can be scent. It's very primal things.
Actually, that if I could jump in here, that brings me to one of the problems that I wanted to run by you guys that I could use some advice on. So I'm having money issues. And I'm wondering, should I go on the internet and start putting things up my butt for money? I have that option. And if so, if we could discuss what pay scale would make it okay? Obviously to do it for like $1, it's not worth it. For $100 million.
Mike can take care of that. Let Mike take care of it.
Mike. I'll let Mike lead off this one.
All right, yeah. Let me help you with this one. So you're on like a cam?
Not yet.
Okay, and you got offered from what, like a gay line or like a gay sex place on like a cam model?
I haven't had offers, but I know that the transgender web models tend to do there's a lot bigger demand and less supply, and they tend to do pretty well. And the average pay scale is something that would allow me the comic freedom, to be able to do stand-up.
I would tell you from working in not the exact same world, but being a dominatrix, the more you charge, the more they're going to think you're worth money. So I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but if you're going to do it, I would say charge as much as you humanly possibly can, and then go backwards from there. So I would tell you, for you, I'd start it like, shit, they want you to go, they probably want 15-minute sessions with that. I would say at least $300 to $400 every 15 minutes, and then go backwards from that.
For that money, I'd do anything.
Because when I was at Dominatrix, I charged three things. I charged to set up the trick, to do the trick, and then if they wanted to get banged, they paid for that, and then to break down the trick. So that's being paid 4 times. So that was a long time. It's like over 20 years ago. I was pretty back then. I'm an old fucking man now. But I can tell you from doing that kind of work, the more you charge, it actually protects you. Because you're kind of like a unicorn in the sense that, like, why is this person charging so much? And that's why, like, a lot of porn stars, people don't know this. Like, the really, really, really big porn stars don't do escort. Because number one, it's way too dangerous. And number two, they really don't make that much fucking money from it. Like,
so
Lisa Ann was like the...
Melissa, have you tried putting anything up your booty?
I'm going to jump in here real quick. Like, I'm always going to come from a perspective of, there's organizations like, there are anonymous programs that deal with deading and under-earning. And, those things come from a place of creating wealth inside, emulating and all that. I do that myself. So what I would say is how there is no shame in a path in the path we take here in life. You know what I mean? And so if that's something that you want to do, then I agree with Mike. You want to get paid as much as possible.
As much as humanly possible.
Right. I would say even more, but, because there's a lot of people out there that have all their fetishes, and there's a lot of very rich people out there. And so that's that situation. But my first instinct would be to, to try and find other areas where you can earn, and the work oneself also helps with jokes also.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, Melissa, Jay, I was going to ask you, do you maybe you dress like that because you don't want to find love? Because it's such a complicated thing either way. So what do you think about that?
Because I'm very pro-sex, you know what I mean? Suck dick, get pussy, crack your beat, who gives a fuck? Just have fun, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There should be no ambiguity about being, and there's so many people that are into so many different things.
Right.
There's no way that you can't get laid if you.
But if you're looking for love,
unless something's going on with you.
Right. But if you're looking for love, this is what I'm talking about. A relationship. Melissa J.
Love. I don't know. I currently don't have that. So.
Yeah, and this is my question to her: do you dress that way so you won't find love?
I think you might have just hit the nail on the head. That's another thing, like, as far as my problems go, wow. It's always like that, Jeff. Every time you say something, it's like so on point. I hate it. You're always right, and I can't stand it. I'm all over the place. My life is a catastrophe. And then it's like, for those of you watching, this happens all the time. We'll be sitting around, blah, 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 and then Jeff will say one thing, and it's like, fuck, I got to think about this for the rest of the day now. Like, I'll talk for 3 hours and not say anything, and it's like that could very well. That was one of the things I was going to talk with you guys about.
Well, see, I agree with Jeff on this because I've known you for a while. And my thing is, I don't care that you wear women's clothing. It doesn't bother me in the least because I've been around you forever. I agree with Jeff, though, if it's going to hinder your life in a way where if you're going to do it in public and it kind of slows you down, then maybe in public, don't wear it or just wear it on stage and, for like personal reasons wear it. But I would say try and experiment for yourself and see how you feel. It's not so much a moral issue, but see how you feel. try to go through half your life starting, I don't know, tomorrow, not wearing the clothes, just to see how you feel.
Well, here's the thing though, as far as like what you said about like avoiding intimacy and everything like that. We're all different in some way. Being transgender is just an amplification. Everyone is different in some way. And it's possible that I could ask that question of all three of you guys in terms of stand-up comedy. Are you guys drawn to comedy because you feel it might? I feel the same way about comics in terms of wanting just to avoid. And I know after my divorce, I just submerged myself in stand-up comedy. It's very, it's not conducive to romance. It's, you know, kind of, let's face it, it's kind of
I'd like to jump in. If you don't mind, let me jump in there. First of all, however you choose to appear, own it. And people will find you sexy.
Agreed. I agree.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't
have to own it. If I don't own what I do, I'll never get laid. If any of us don't own what we do, it doesn't matter what we look like. You just have to own it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I think you guys are missing the point to the question. The question is,
go ahead.
The question is more of a mental thing to her. Is the reason she dresses that way is because she doesn't want to have intimacy, and she knows this will keep it from falling in love. That was my question. It has nothing to do with attracting and doing all that. It has to do more of her mentality, her thought process, his thought process.
I think it's so on point. That's like really. I think it's more of a side effect than a motivation, because one of the things it does help with dating. That's one of the motivations that when I first went out in public, I was ready to just be ostracized, you know, just to and then I had no idea that girls were gonna come running up to me. The first time I ever cross-dressed was at Burning Man. And within the first 25 minutes, I'd met a girl. We had made out. She had yanked her dress down, taken my face, shoved it in her breasts, and like we traded motorboats. It was like the
wow. So you better do that on stage.
So we traded motorboats, and at that point I was like, oh my God, like I had no idea. I don't want to be crass about it, but like there's pussy in this. You know, I didn't think that. I was ready to just drag the ball and chain everywhere I went. I didn't realize there would be advantage to it. I can honestly say, or maybe I want to say, it's a side effect and not a motivation. It could be a subconscious motivation. And that's the thing, is we often don't understand what we're doing.
Right.
And that's why you just freaked me out, man. Like, I'm gonna have to think about that.
Yeah, I think if the only thing is I want to add to that. But first of all, by the way, thank you for sharing all that.
Anytime.
You know, you're such a beautiful person. I just really appreciate you sharing all that. And you know, I think for me, one of my biggest journeys was self-love, and you know, and just really self-acceptance, because I was raised in such a homophobic environment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, you're on a journey of self-discovery. And I agree with Mike. Just feel your way through it, man. Listen to your soul.
Yeah.
It tells you what to do. And when you
Ron.
And in that process, own it. Own every bit of it, and love every bit of it, and rejoice in every bit of it, and have fun with every bit of it.
Gotcha. I just want to say, Ron, too, like, we appreciate you. It's something that you might not see. I know I see a lot of kids or different LGBT affiliations. I know every time you come in the room, it's like we got a big brother. We got somebody, a badass motherfucker who, you know, you set a great example. And I know I love like when I'm at a hostile open mic and then you walk in. People will mess with me, but nobody's messing with you. And I know we appreciate you, being honest, and, you know, just being out there. And, you know, just
no one's messing with Black Moses, huh?
I appreciate that.
Well, let me chime in, because the thing that I've been with Melissa when people have actually tried to bully her,
Wow.
I've seen this shit several times where I've had to cut in and be like, you know, she's my friend. Why are you fucking with her? It's Hollywood. She can do whatever the fuck she wants to do.
Appreciate all you guys for sure.
Because the thing about you, see, it's interesting. All these fucking homophobic weird motherfuckers that we know, if they actually just hung out with you for like 5 minutes,
Right.
it would just go away. Like you would just be like the friends. Like nobody would give a fuck. But it's funny to watch because her and I were hanging out, I think, one night at Sycamore, and some fucking comic we know was just being fucking weird and mouthy and causing trouble. I was like, you're gonna get punched in the fucking throat. Like, I'll throat punch your stupid ass.
And you know what? Most of the time, that's going to be these guys who are weirdly turned on by it. They're so out of touch with themselves.
I agree.
They don't know how to react to it. Because anybody who's comfortable with themselves is not going to have a reaction to how somebody else looks. It's ridiculous.
Right.
One way I've been able to get around that, and if there are anybody who's different, if you're transgender, and I got to give credit to Ty Rivera, was the one who kind of explained all this. He was explaining the way that 20 years ago, the way that the gay population sort of found their place in mainstream society. His phrase was that they charmed the pants off of America in terms of helping the queer eye guys. That's my thing, is that I do understand women. I understand dating. And I've seen a lot of kids from like tough neighborhoods. I don't fault them for any, whatever they feel. Seen a lot of kids have some weird reactions. And what I've done is helped those kids get laid. I've seen them try to hit on girls. Like, no, don't do that. Do this, do this. This is what she wants. This is what's going to work. They do it. It works. And then they tend to see me, as somebody who, I'm like a gateway to the pussy instead of somebody who is tempting them with their, that's the thing, is there's the latent homosexual fantasy in male psychology. I tend to make people think about things they don't want to think about. And it increases the less of a male to female ratio. The more of a sausage fest that an event is, the worse it's going to be.
I can't wait. I'll thrive.
You're going to be like, Ron, you're going to be like a shark to dick.
Oh,
you're going to be a dick shark.
Like a killer whale just filtering plankton through my jaw. Just this
dick shark. You're a dick shark, Ron.
It's like that Dangerfield joke. Rodney Dangerfield said, he goes, there's an old Dangerfield joke. I went to a gay bar. There was 15 guys for every guy.
Yeah. I'm at home.
That sounds like Ron's kind of club.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Cock and balls, it's everywhere. If I could learn to love it, it'd be like eating like the lawn grass. It's everywhere. You could just survive off of it.
So at the end of the day, what do you want to see as a relation? What do you want your outcome as a relationship? What would be the perfect relationship for Melissa J?
I'm not sure how to put this with the proper pronouns, but I want to be a dad. I want to, in the biological, I do want to get married. I do want to have kids. I feel that my partner and I, whoever that would be, could do a better job raising children than the majority of heterosexual couples.
Now, how would you explain the fact that you cross-dress to a child? How would you go about that?
That's a very good question.
I think if I could jump in here, I think pretty much the same way that Mike explains to the people he's a dominatrix for exactly what's about to happen.
Pretty much. I warn him.
Steely cold stare.
I'll tell you this though, the world in 5 and 10 years is going to be a much different place. So,
yeah, I agree.
As difficult as that would be to, that's just parenting. Much like
I don't see. If you make it an issue, it'll be an issue. That's the bottom line.
Yes.
Well, it's gonna be an issue because you take your kids to school, you drop them off, other kids see it.
Yes.
It's going to come up.
I think like 10 and 15 years ago, I don't know if I would have been as out and as public. I just out of respect for the child. You know, that's the thing with kids. It's not all your life at that point. And as much as I'm willing to put myself out there, you know, get on stage, end up in a place like South Central, I don't have much regard for my own well-being or safety, but for a child, I would have to consider that. But I just really think that there's a tidal wave coming over the next 5 and 10 years. And it's just not, I also, you know, I don't feel that there's a damn thing wrong with it morally, ethically, but we have to live, kids aren't ready for things like stigma and being insulted. Things that would drive an adult, like the suicide rate among transgenders is so high because of the stigma and all the insults, the isolation. To put a child through that, I don't know if I could do that, but I also think that in 10 years, it just wouldn't be like that. And if I were raising this kid in Los Angeles in 5 and 10 years, it might almost be the coolest kid at the school because there's, oh, you know, you got the transgender, you got the two moms, you got the transgender mom, you know, so hopefully, ultimately, I'm sure, like I said, all you guys, we're all different in some way. You got to be who you are, you know, live free or die, basically. And that's basically all it is.
Yeah, no, you know, all I would say is, man, have pride in every step that you take, man. You know, I mean, just have pride in every step that you take, because, you know, that we ultimately, for all the things that all of us, you know, have been through, we're blessed.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And it's real, for me, it's real easy to get trapped in the noise of what I haven't done, or what I haven't been able to achieve, or what I should or could have been doing by now. And going back to what Mike was kind of alluding to, just being, you know, doing what am I doing now, and making sure that I'm a little bit better today than I was yesterday. You know, but it starts with having pride in every step. You got to really own every bit of it.
Right. But you got to be smart.
And
smart. But you got to be smart. You know, like you're driving to Texas. There's things you can't do in Texas that you can do in LA. So you've got to be smart to protect yourself. And just like Melissa J, she's from New Jersey. People in Jersey not going to be as understanding as we are in LA.
Absolutely.
So she can't do the same things in Jersey that she can do here. We got to be smart. We can say, hey, be stronger, do your thing, but you also got to be smart about doing that.
Yes, I can't say enough about Los Angeles and the freedom it provides, no matter who you are. You know, if you're a skateboarder, you got a mohawk that's like dyed green and 18 inches long. You know, if you're, whatever you're doing, if you're a surfer, you know, you're living in that van next to the beach, you're surfing every day. People, the freedom, the way that everybody bags on Los Angeles, that it's phony and it's judgmental. Ironically, this is one of the realest place I've ever been, because even the phoniness is real. It's on the
It's so brilliant and so true.
People in small towns, I've gotten screwed over so bad in these little farm towns where everybody thinks, oh, we're such down-home good folk. You know, we're not like those fake city people. And I just got screwed. I got stolen from. I got cheated on. I got lied to. And I come to LA and I've gotten stolen from, you know, cheated on and lied to, but at least it's on the table here and it's all love here. This is the one place. And the thing, what Ron was saying about putting pride into every step, that's exactly who you, if I could just get on my soapbox for like, make one quick point here. Whoever you are, take a lesson from John Gotti. I grew up outside of New York City when all the Italian mobsters were having their heyday. When Gotti was 18 years old, they tried to steal a cement mixer. It rolled over on his leg, giving him permanent muscle damage. That gangster limp that is so iconic comes from John Gotti. And that comes from a mistake that he made when he was younger, trying to steal something and getting caught. And so whatever kind of issue you have, you got to own it, and you just got to strut it. That's your gangster limp. Take that, make it your signature, make that injury part of who you are. And that is still iconic today. When somebody walks in a room with a slow limp, to back off. And that all comes from John Gotti. And that just comes from, whatever society has tried to pin on you, you own it and you make it who you are. And that's why I wear stilettos. I wear 5-inch heels, because every step I take is like what you said, Ron. I'm trying to personify that. That's my gangster limp. Like whatever stigma you're gonna put on me, I'm gonna own it, and I'm gonna This is where I would make the mistake that white people make, trying to compare themselves to black people.
Yeah, because I was going to tell you.
I won't even go there.
I was going to tell you.
That's right. We're all different in some way.
Because you done pissed off every Italian right now. The cross-dresser talking about John Gotti.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way,
I love being Italian. I'm not too, I'm not too happy with white people. Italians, those old school mobsters, I'll vouch for those people. I am proud to be a part of that.
Pieces of work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm from Philly, so South Philly was. Oh my God, that was my first mating pool right there. That's how.
Of course it was.
I'm sorry. You talk about cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Look at what gangster rap. They stole our idea. All right, making good money, killing people, and then using big words to describe it, and eating big meals. And living this high-end, the suits and everything. That comes from the Italians. And that's the one thing I can say that was appropriate. As much as white culture has literally just ripped off black culture the entire time, that is the one time when we got sampled, basically, in black culture. And that's I'm so proud of. To me, crime and, you're fighting the system. It's part of counterculture. Kind of comedy and anything to avoid the white picket fence, the 2.4 kids,
right?
Any of that I'm so proud to be a part of. What the hell are we even talking about here? I'm so sorry.
Oh no, hey Melissa, first of all, I want to thank you for being on the show. I think you're awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for having me on.
You're such a
one
fantastic.
of my favorite people.
Yeah, you're such a fantastic open person.
Guys, you got anything in closing to say to Melissa J?
Melissa, what did you go for it, Ron? I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mike. Thanks. Melissa J, we have had many a wonderful conversation. You are a deep, thoughtful, loving person. I respect the fuck out of you. You know what I mean? I just think you're just a top-notch person. And, I first of all, thank you for coming on the cast and talking with us. There's just love yourself, because you're fantastic. That's all I'm saying.
Likewise, Ron. I don't know, this may be the first time that anybody has ever said this to you, but you are a great role model for younger kids who want to just break the mold, and the way that, I always feel safe when you're in the room. You're one of the baddest people I've ever met, and you're so out there with who you are, and you're so proud of it. And likewise, man, appreciate you. And I'm glad that we're getting this out there. We've had just some of the best talks with no one around. And I felt why are we not famous?
It's the end of the world right now. It's the end of the world.
Yeah.
What I would tell you, Melissa.
Love you, Ron. And if I ever do come out, you're gonna be the first person I call.
Melissa,
if I make it back from Abilene, Texas.
Melissa, what I would tell you is just own your space, regardless of what you do. Just own your space from now on. If we can help you with anything today, because you'll have a lot of courage to do what you do and to be who you are. I would say take it up another notch and just own it and know when not to do it for safety purposes, which you always do anyway.
Yes, that's wise advice. And yeah, Mike, man, I'm so glad that we're in cahoots together, for sure, man. Like, definitely you. I know with comedy, that's what I'm saying. We're all different, and I know there have been plenty of times when we've gone places where people are looking at Mike like the way they would look at me, because you're comedy, and you're like a rodeo bull of comedy. Like, you can barely hang on as an audience member. Like, nobody's gonna last the whole set with you. It's like, who can hang on for the longest? And that's the thing. We're all different, and you definitely know how to be different and not give a fuck. And I
don't give a fuck. No.
And I'll just say, Melissa J, I'll just say, look inside yourself and just really look and figure out what you want to do with your life and who you really want to be.
And love it and step aside.
Be your authentic self, Melissa
Then
J.
you just got to own it at that point.
Yeah. And Melissa J, I'm going to finish off with this. I am at the B&B Travel Center Auto Truck Stop and Restaurant. If this is the last any of you hear from me, just want to let y'all know, I really, really am grateful that you all got on here today. And for anybody who's watching this, these are some great motherfuckers that you've been watching.
And listen, Ron, charge more than $1.50 for some head. You're selling yourself short.
No, it's okay, fine. It's fine.
Ron, you're a brave soul. You're a brave soul, and that's coming from me.
I'll kick it like $1.99, and you get two for $1.99. Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. Hey, Melissa J, I want to thank you for being on, and you think you got problems. Thank you again.
You got problems.
You think you got problems. Thank you, Melissa J. Love you. See you later.
Love all you guys. Thank you.
All right.
All right.